Hey everyone, welcome to part 3 for Claude for Clinicians video series where I'm going through Claude and how I use it and what I think it's really useful for. Last couple of ones we've talked about doing a BAS statement, setting up Claude in general, downloading it, getting your connectors. So what we're going to do in this one is look at how to create an artifact. And we're also going to go through scheduling. So artifact scheduling, they're similar, not the same. Essentially, now that you've got Claude open and it can connect to a whole heap of interesting things like your Xero or your Stripe or your emails, calendar, so on and so forth, you can get it to do real work as such. So for example, you can get it to schedule a task once a week, once a day, and it will look at that schedule. It'll go through whatever you've told it to do it, and action it all the way through the whole workflow. So as an example, one of the things that I get my Claude to do is it looks through all of our connectors. So looking at our support tickets through email, looking at our support tickets through Intercom, which is like a program that just helps with people that are having help or need help with MBS Pro. Looks through all of like the suggestions, complaints, etc. Creates a spreadsheet, and that can be sent off to the developers. And the developers can look at the issues people are having. We can get it fixed really quickly, and that's how we can iterate really quick, which is good. That's fantastic. As a clinician, you might get it to look through your emails, look through your schedule, see what times you have available for meetings from your emails, see what time you don't have, look at any areas where you may have double booked yourself, so on and so forth. So that's scheduling. Now, Artifact is kind of like scheduling. Essentially what it does is it does it like live. It pulls fresh data from your connectors and creates like a dashboard. So as a clinician or a practice owner or maybe practice manager, you might connect it to your email, your calendar, a few things like that, and create a dashboard. So I'm going to show you how to do that live. We're doing it live. So we've gone to Artifacts. I've asked it and said, I want to make a live artifact, explain what it is and how it works and how I can make it most useful for me. So I'm going to create a daily briefing command center, but there's a ton of stuff you can do. You could do, finance, health, and put in spreadsheets from your practice management system or something like that, or analytics or Xero connectors, and it'll pull stuff live, every day, week, month, whatever you want to schedule it for, or artifacts, just doing it live. So how often would you actually open this page? So a command center, I might do it, let's just say I do it once a day, that's fine. What style of view do you prefer? So probably a priority, because I get a whole heap of ton of stuff. So what it's going to do is it's going to look at my connectors and create sort of like a dashboard. Now this is what it's done based off just a generic prompt from Claude. Otherwise, if you wanted to create your own, you could say, can you create an artifact opened emails and prioritize which emails I should reply to first on Gmail and Outlook. Also create a daily calendar view from both of my calendars. So here's a hot tip: don't have two calendars. That's a bad idea. Anyway, that's my problem. Now, terrible spelling. That's fine. We're going to get that to run. So this will create another artifact. This is our live artifact. So which sources? So let's go unread. This is the other artifact that I was creating. I know it's kind of weird because I'm sort of creating two artifacts. Oops. Let me go back. So I said Gmail. I actually want to do both. So you can go backwards and forwards. Let's go both. How should that be? Importance first. Claude. I want Claude to judge it and run it for me as my EA. So Claude is my EA. Now, while those two things are running, let me show you a few other cool features in Claude. So one is called the dispatch. Essentially, this is where you might actually use this on your phone, and you can send jobs to your computer, which hopefully is on, because it needs to be on, and you can enable that. So you can send jobs from your phone to your computer, which will look at your local files and do the thing that you want it to do. That is useful. However, for myself, because I have Claude on my laptop, I pretty much have my laptop with me like 100% of the time. I don't use it all that much, but it's handy. We talked about artifacts scheduling a task, so let me quickly show you how I might do that. So you set up manually. So for this one, we're going to do custom the complaints. And we're going to look at emails, and Intercom for customer complaints. Check audio, Intercom emails both for complaints and summarize into a spreadsheet. Again, doesn't matter about the spelling, although I feel like I should be spelling better. That's fine. And then I wanted to do it every hour is a lot, unless you get a lot of complaints. So let's do that weekly let's do a Sunday, because I'm getting a start to the week because I'm a hustler, something like that. So it's going to run every Sunday. Let's get it to run now though, because I want to show you pretty much that would be the main reason. So here is our artifact. It's still running. So how should I prioritize? Smart triage, last 7 days, calendar view, today only. Remember how I made 2 of them? They are going to be slightly different. Now what it does is it creates a HTML thing. So essentially like a web link that will be live. Got it. Here's what I'll build before I write. I want you to pick up the actual response shape from your calendar. Want me to go ahead and probe and build? Yes. So remember we had it to ask questions down here in the bottom. It's going to ask this before it does anything. Which can mean it will be a little bit slower to do the things. You can set to not ask and just do the things that you prompted to do. This is sort of more advanced than what we were talking before. This is not super advanced, and we haven't even touched on Claude Code, which is a whole nother beast. But this is co-work, which is more of a thing I think will be more useful for clinicians who may not code. If you're a coder, 100% Claude Code is better than co-work and can do so much more. But just being aware of that. So now it's going to create a live artifact. I will pause this video and pick it up when it's done. Okay, that took a little bit longer than expected. You can see here it has generated an artifact. So let me go through the prompts that I was doing. I was like, hey, can you generate an artifact and show me like my unread email? So this is like part of a command center. You probably have unread emails, your calendar for the day or the week or something like that. You can see I've got a few unread emails here, whatever. But the problem is some of the connectors, for whatever reason, were not working. It only showed my calendar for like a day. Then I'm like, hey, I have a ton of stuff. There's like literally nothing on this calendar, still nothing. And then now it's created this, which is just the email, not the actual calendar. So it's saying I've got 9 unread in my Gmail, 0 in my Outlook. Let me have a look at that other one. Remember how I sort of created like 2 weird ones, and now this one doesn't show anything. So pros and cons of Claude again. I think I'm doing something wrong because I have this running on my laptop, and it will show everything, my inbox, my calendar, etc. And that is a useful feature. So there you go, that is the artifacts, and we also talked about the scheduled tasks. So it's run my customer complaints. I've got now a spreadsheet of all the sort of the complaints that I put through an email, etc. And I can talk to the developers about that and hopefully produce something of value. So you can see that you can automate a lot of these tasks. So instead of doing say like a Gmail Outlook review, you can have Claude do it and it'll say, look, these are your emails that you need to look at. These are the priorities. Same as your calendar. Same as your in this instance, customer feedback options, and then those are the things that we can turn into tickets for the devs and, make a better product in terms of MBS Pro. We can look at it in terms of doing BAS statements or helping us do it, doing some financial analysis. So there's quite a bit that we can do as part of, Claude for Clinicians. So let me know your feedback, anything else you want me to explore. I'm going to be talking a bit more about, plugins and a few other things like that. Which is part of this customize function. Thanks everyone for listening. We'll catch you in the next video. Bye.